So welcome to the Mooncat Yoga home practice. So today we're going to be focusing on lovely full yogic breath, where we will breathe into the belly, the rib cage, the collarbones, and then exhale collarbones, rib cage, belly. So we'll be working through those three areas of our lungs, of our breathing. And then we're going to have a nice warming up those muscles, coming into our full sequence. And then, as always, as we have in the Mooncat Yoga classes, we will be having a lovely cool down followed by savasana. So today, because I'm at home and I have lots of things around, I'm sitting upon my meditation cushion. If you have a cushion at home, please feel free to sit on that. It just helps to elevate the hips. I will also be utilising my knee pads, big fan of knee pads, as you all know, protecting those knees. And then at the end, there is an option to have a really nice restorative shavasana. So laying upon a bolster and maybe some cushions. Now, if you don't have a bolster at home, really rolling up tightly a blanket or a towel will work absolutely brilliantly. What it's doing is it's providing support from the base of the spine to the neck, maybe even the head if it's long enough, in order to fully allow the chest to release, the collarbones to release, the shoulders to release. I know that this is where I hold a lot of tension, so by really allowing the arms to fall away from me in a supported way allows tension to release. But if you want to lie in your normal shavasana, then please do so. So let's start our practice, and thank you for joining me today. Also, just another point, making sure you're warm enough, and also that the space that you are practicing is safe for you to do so. So let's get started. So coming to a comfortable seated position, I invite you to close your eyes or soft focus. As we start to gather that awareness inwards, maybe noticing your breath. How are you breathing today? Is it deep? Is it fast? Is it shallow? And then notice your body. Scan your body from the crown of your head to your toes. Notice any areas of tension you might be holding, perhaps around the neck or the throat. Maybe the chest, maybe the hips. And let's try and soften those spaces. So full yogic breathing. We're going to break this down into the three areas that we breathe into. So let's start with the belly. So if it helps, maybe placing the hands to the lower belly to feel the hands rise underneath the hands. So as we inhale, really trying to direct the breath into the hands, feeling the hands perhaps rise. And then as you exhale, slowly feel the belly soften. So let's practice a few more rounds of that. Inhaling, exhaling, inhale, and exhale. Good. So let's take that to the rib cage. So if you can, maybe placing the hands to the outside of the ribs. Let me take my jumper off because I'm warm enough now in these drafty old houses. So placing the hands to the sides of the ribs. So as we inhale, feeling the rib cage expand. And as we exhale, feel the rib cage soften. So let's practice a few more. One more, really trying to direct that breath into the rib cage. Good. So now we're going to practice trying to breathe into the collarbones. So this is a really subtle movement, so you may not even notice your your collarbones lifting. So it's a very shallow breath, so really trying to breathe into the top part of the lungs. And this is the space where if you are anxious, stressed, this is the place that we breathe when we're in our fight, flight mode. So if you do ever find yourself noticing that you're breathing into this area, direct that breath into the belly. But let's try a few rounds of breathing into the collarbones. Shallow breath. Maybe feeling the collarbones expand. So one more. Good. So let's try and link these three parts of our inhale. So where we will breathe into the belly, the rib cage at the top of the inhale, the collarbones, and then as we exhale, the collarbones will soften, the rib cage will soften, the belly will soften. So if you want to place your hands to one part of your body, or you wish just to allow your hands to release onto your knees or your thighs. So let's start. I will cue a few rounds and then leave you to your own breath. So let's begin as we inhale. Belly, rib cage, collarbones. And then exhaling, collarbones, rib cage, belly. Inhale, belly, rib cage, collarbones. Exhale, collarbones, rib cage, belly. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. So practice a few more rounds to your own breath. One more round. And then release that breath. Resume your normal, lovely breath, noticing if your breath feels deeper, slower, the quality, if it feels easier to inhale through your nostrils and exhale. And then if you haven't done so already, blink the eyes open. So we're going to start by lying on our backs on the mat. So let's begin with a lovely gentle pelvic twist. So we're going to tuck the tailbone under, scoop the shoulder blades down the back. So just start off 45 degrees and then we're going to try and take the knees all the way to the floor. So on your next exhale, allowing both knees just to move about 45 degrees to the right. And then we inhale center and exhale to the left. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Good. So maybe now trying to take the knees a little bit closer to the floor as we inhale. Exhale. Seeing how that feels as we bring space to the hips, the lower back. Inhale. And exhale. So let's do a couple more rounds. Inhaling to center. Exhaling. Inhale. Exhale, one more round. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. Inhale. And exhale. Good. And now draw the knees in and rock from side to side. Well done. Just checking my notes. So placing the hands to the knees, we're going to take lovely hip circles. So with the big toes, as though we've stuck the big toes together, we're going to inhale, draw the knees towards us. Exhale, the knees wide. Good. So just as wide as feels comfortable without any clicking or clunking in those hips. Just as wide, just bringing some lovely movement into the hip joint. Nice. And let's reverse that the other way. And returning the feet to the mat. So now we're going to wake up our abdominals. So here you have really nice options. We're going to build in a twist to really wake up the core, but also the sides of the abdominals. So here you can keep the feet to the mat, and we're going to inhale, we're going to exhale, twist, and as we do, we're going to straighten the opposite leg, and then inhale to center, exhale, twist to the left, pressing away with the opposite foot. So either keeping the feet to the mat, or if you wish to, keeping the feet lifted and calves parallel, where we will press away, inhale, and exhale. So take whichever expression of the abdominals you wish to take. So as we inhale, we begin by pressing the lower spine down, curling the tailbone up, exhale, elbows to ceiling. Inhale, engage navel to spine, exhale, take the left elbow to the right thigh, straightening the other foot, pressing away. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist to the left. Inhale. Exhale, really supporting the head. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Last round. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale to center. And then exhale, slowly lower all the way down. Once again, let's hug those knees in, rock from side to side. Well done. So planting the feet to the mat, half bridge rolls. So we're going to keep the arms to the sides of the body. So again, let's start by tucking the tailbone under, lift and spread the toes, ground through those feet. Scooping the shoulder blades down the back, tucking the chin in, lengthening the back of the neck. And then grounding really through the upper arms, forearms, hands. On your next inhale, we're going to start to lift those hips, perhaps squeezing the glutes, heart lifting up to the ceiling. And then slowly as we exhale, one vertebra at a time. Slowly, slowly, slowly. So let's practice 2 more like that. Inhaling, really synchronizing that breath with the movement. One more. And once you're all the way down on that third one, slowly, once again, hugging those knees in, rocking from side to side. And then either rocking up to seated or slowly making your way to a lovely seated position. Good. So we're going to practice now Sufi circles. So as I say in my classes, Sufi circles always look different for everybody. And if sitting in Sukhasana doesn't feel comfortable for you, especially if you've got anything going on with those knees, just take Dandasana. So with any posture, whenever anything doesn't feel quite right, there's always a different way of practicing. There's always a modification. So whenever I am saying sit cross-legged or sit comfortably, if Dandasana is comfortable for you, then this will be where you will sit. Or you can take Sukhasana, sitting cross-legged. So Sufi circles, as we inhale, we start to drop that left hip, that left shoulder, and the heart lifts. And then as we exhale, we start to tuck in the chin, round through the back. Inhale. It's a little bit like a rolling cat-cow. We inhale, coming forwards, and then we exhale, rounding through the back, hugging in the belly. So really trying to work into the shoulders, the neck. Nice. And then let's reverse that the other way. And if you are in Dandasana, the hands would be by the side of the body. Good. And returning to center. So once again, option to sit in Dandasana or Sukhasana. So inhale as we scoop the arms up. And exhale. Inhale. So moving through water. Exhale. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Nice twist. So cupping the right knee with the left hand, taking the right hand behind, left and rights. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale as we gently twist. So the twist comes from the middle of the back, the thoracic area of the spine. So taking your awareness to that area, perhaps that gentle hugging in of the lower belly. And then inhale to center. So let's take that lovely arm movement again, but we're going to reverse that. So we're going to inhale, exhale. 3 more. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Last one. Inhale, exhale. This time twisting to the left, so cupping the left knee with the right hand, left hand comes behind. We inhale, lift and lengthen to create that space in the spine to allow us to twist. I like to keep my head almost in alignment with my chest bone, and anyone with neck issues can do likewise. But if you wish to, you might want to just turn your head a little bit left. And then returning to center. So let's take straddle. So this is where, if you have cushions at home, this can really benefit. So you can either sit on a cushion. We're going to take straddle, but if you wish to, you can take that left foot to the top of the right thigh. Now, if this knee is in the air, this is when you take your cushion and you place that under there. Once this leg is allowed to be feeling supported, this is when the muscles start to allow us to release and allow us to stretch a little more. So using props allows for a greater accessibility to our practice. And I am a big fan of props, as anyone in my classes knows. So let's take a nice side bend. So as we inhale, lengthen, exhale as we side bend to the right. Just relaxing the head, really grounding through that left hip. Nice breathing as we inhale, feel the rib cage expand. on the left side of the waist. And as we exhale, feel it soften. And then inhale to center. Exhale, right ear to right shoulder, keeping that chin tucked in. And then inhale, we're going to take this palm, the left palm, and lower that arm until you can feel quite a deep stretch through the left side of the neck. So really play around with that arm position. Everybody's different, everybody's unique. So what works for me may not work for you. So just see what feels nice for you. And then perhaps taking this right hand to that space between the neck and the shoulder, bringing some warmth, a little bit of love. I know this is where I hold a lot of tension, so always nice to just give yourself a little massage. And then bending the right arm, taking hold of the right side of the head as we ease ourselves up to center. And let's take it straight to the other side. Again, using props if you need to, underneath either the buttocks or underneath that right knee. So as we inhale, lengthen, exhale as we side bend over, this time to the left. Nice deep breaths. Really being mindful in our practice to focus on that breath. Instead of trying to reach those toes, just focusing on the breath. And then inhale to center. Exhale, left ear to left shoulder, tucking in the chin. And inhale as we take the right palm away, lowering the arm until you feel that stretch through the right side of the neck. And again, if you wish to, taking the left hand to that space between the neck and the shoulder on the right side, bringing some warmth, bit of massage, bit of love. And then bending the left arm, taking hold of the left side of the head as we ease ourselves up to center. And let's take again either Sukhasana or Dandasana with the legs straight in front. So let's take that focus to our neck. So when we practice neck circles, I like to imagine that there is like a little crane on the tip of our nose, and as we're drawing that circle, all the awareness is on the tip of our nose, drawing that circle in the air. So let's start by drawing a semicircle. So turn to look over the right shoulder with your nose, drawing a semicircle all the way down the chest to the left shoulder. Let's draw that semicircle all the way back to the right. And now, only if it feels nice with your neck, we're going to draw that semicircle, but taking it into a full circle. Perhaps it feels nice to close your eyes, softening the shoulders. So all the awareness is on the tip of your nose, drawing that circle as wide as feels comfortable. And then let's reverse that. Let's take that the other way. Nice and slowly. Good. And returning to center. So let's make our way to tabletop. So we're going to start just checking that alignment. So if you do have knee issues, this is when you can use your pads underneath your knees. So wrists underneath shoulders, knees underneath hips, 3 cat-cows. So as we inhale, the head lifts, the heart lifts, the belly softens, shoulder blades down the back, slowly squeezing the upper arms in towards each other. And then exhale, the movement starts at the tailbone as we tuck onto the tailbone, scooping belly, lower ribs, relax the head, arching to the ceiling. Inhale, head lifts, heart lifts, belly softens. Exhale. One more, inhale. And exhale. So returning to tabletop, we're going to tuck the toes and either coming into puppy pose if you have anything going on with your wrists. So either coming to puppy pose where your hip is stacked over your knees, or we're going to plant the hands, tuck the toes and peeling those hips all the way up as we take downward facing dog. So first one of the day, maybe you want to start moving through the ankles, really coming onto the tips of those toes, working into those toes. So important at this time of year. Nice. Maybe moving the head from side to side. And then slowly we're going to walk all the way to the front of the mat for a lovely relaxed ragdoll. So bending the knees as much as possible, laying the belly over the knees. Perhaps it feels nice to hold opposite elbows. Good. And then planting the hands, we're going to step all the way back to downward facing dog. So preparing to step the right foot forward. So inhale, raising the right leg. Exhale, stepping it through. And if it doesn't reach all the way to the front of the mat, just wiggle, wiggle, wiggle all the way to the front. And this is where we're going to use those pads. So slowly lowering the left knee to the pad. So crescent lunge. So squeezing those thighs to the midline, hugging in the belly for our stability as we inhale, lifting all the way into our crescent lunge. Squeezing the left glute. So at this time of year, perhaps sit a little bit more. And our hip flexors, so the muscles that run to the front of the hips can feel quite tight. So lunging helps to release those. Good. And then inhale, lengthen. Exhale as we flow into our runner's lunge. Inhale, nice and slowly with control. Exhale. One more. Inhale. Exhale. Returning to the crescent lunge. We're going to plant the hands, tuck the back toes, stepping all the way back to downward facing dog. Moving the pad. Inhale, raising the left leg up. Exhale, stepping it through. Lowering the right knee. Good. Squeeze the thighs to the midline, hug in the belly as we inhale for our crescent lunge. Good. Remembering to soften those shoulders. Squeeze that right glute. Just really helps to stretch those hip flexors a little more. So let's flow. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale into our runner's lunge. Inhale. Exhale. Using the breath. Last one. Exhale. Good. Inhale. Planting the hands. This time we're going to step forwards into a forward fold. Ground through the feet as we inhale, lifting up with strength. And exhale, hands to heart center. as we take Tadasana. Welcoming one of my moon cats to the practice. So let's start with swaying palm. So we're going to move from swaying palm into warrior A with airplane arm flow. So we're going to start by taking the left toes around to the back of the right foot. So nice, strong, stable, finding something to focus on. And then inhale, taking the arms up, fingertips, fingers laced, hands facing upwards. And then exhale over to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last round. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, releasing the hands, taking them wide. As we do so, we're slowly going to ground through that right foot and taking one-legged Tadasana. Nice and strong, nice and focused, hugging in the belly, squeezing the glute. And then inhale, lengthen. Exhale, stepping back to warrior A with control. Nice. Good. So really feeling those hips shift to the short edge of the mat. So inhale, lengthen. Exhale into aeroplane arms. Hugging in the belly. Inhale. Exhale. Two more. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. Inhale. Exhale. Slowly, as we're leaning forwards, the hands reach the mat and we step back to plank. So if plank doesn't feel good for you today, you always have the option for low plank with the knees down. But pressing away from the mat, squeezing the glute, tucking under the tailbone. And then inhale, expand upper back. Exhale down, knees, chest, chin, lowering with control, tucking in those elbows, nice and tight to the body. Nice. So pressing the pubic bone to the mat, sliding the hands forwards. We're going to practice either baby cobra or sphinx. So either coming up to sphinx, so inhaling, pulling the heart forwards, or just pressing through the hands, lifting the elbows slightly. Anything happening with that lower back, coming back to sphinx. So a nice gentle back bend. A couple of breaths here. And then exhale, lower. Plant the hands, lifting with strength all the way to downward facing dog. So preparing to step to the front of the mat. So stepping, jumping, hopping. We inhale as we lengthen. Exhale to fold. Inhale, lifting up. And exhale, hands to heart center. So let's take that to the left side. So this time the left toes, right toes behind. So feeling lovely and strong, balanced. As we inhale, linking the hands, palms facing upwards, soft elbows. Exhale to the left. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhaling. Exhaling. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale as we take the hands all the way around. As we do so, ground through that left foot as we float the right into one-legged Tadasana. So feeling nice and strong. Before we transition into warrior A, hugging in the belly, lower ribs. Inhale, raise the arms. Exhale, stepping back with control into our warrior A. Good. hips switching to that short edge of the mat. Release the shoulders. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. Inhale. Exhale. Taking the hands to the mat, either side of the left foot, stepping back to plank. So really hugging in the belly here, heels to the back of your room. And then inhale, expand upper back, exhale down with the knees, the chest, the chin. Keeping those elbows tight to the body. Sliding the hands forward, pubic bone to the mat, lifting for Sphinx or baby cobra. So really pulling that heart forwards. So squeezing the glutes really helps to protect the lower back, pubic bone to the mat. Inhale. Exhale, lower, slide the hands either side of the chest, tuck the toes as we inhale and exhale. For a downward facing dog, we're going to inhale, step, jump, hop to the front of the room, front of the mat. Exhale to fold. Inhale, lifting the strength, and exhale, hands to heart center. Well done. So if you want to take a drink, always encourage you to drink during the classes. Please do so. And then when you're ready, we're going to step lengthways on our mats. So warrior, B, peaceful warrior, and extended side angle stretch. So turning the right toes out, left toes at an angle. We inhale, lengthen, and we exhale into our warrior B. Good. Again, relax the shoulders. Checking those shoulders are stacked over the hips. They're not leaning forwards. Just avoiding coming too much into that front knee. Pressing the outer edge of that back foot into the mat, keeping this leg engaged. Peaceful warrior. Inhale, turning the right palm up. Exhaling, sliding the left hand down into our peaceful warrior. Maintaining that bend in the front knee. Inhale to warrior B. Exhale as we reach into Utthita Parshvakonasana, extended side angle stretch, hand or forearm to thigh, and inhale, taking the left arm alongside the ears. Lots of deep breaths, so standing sequences, warriors, they all require lots of good breath. Inhale as we lift all the way back up, toes forward and releasing the arms. Goddess posture. So taking the feet at approximately 10 to 2. So just bend your knees and just see where your knees are tracking. Wherever your knees are tracking, that's where your feet should be. So let's move this way a bit so that you can see me. Good. So sinking into our goddess. So here the heart's lifted, we're tucking the tailbone under, we're trying to avoid leaning forwards. So inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, last one, inhale, exhale, inhale, floating the arms up, shifting so that the left toes are to the front of the mat, foot at an angle, and exhale, we take warrior B. Good. Checking those arms, see what's happening to that backhand. Peaceful warrior. Inhale, turning the left palm up. Exhale. Remembering to really engage the outer edge of the foot, the left foot, excuse me, the right foot. Inhale. Exhale as we reach. Extend a side angle stretch, hand, forearm to thigh. Inhale, right arm alongside the right ear. Just relax the head. Deep breaths. Inhale as we lift all the way up, toes forwards. Wide legged forward fold, hands to the hips. So we inhale, open up our heart, and then exhale as the hips shift back. The heart floats all the way down. So we might be fingertips. We might be using a pillow or a block underneath the hands. Or we might have the hands to the mat. So if your hands come to the mat, try walking them back in alignment with the feet, elbows pointing backwards. So trying to send the sit bones up to the ceiling, relaxing the head, and then planting either the fingertips, the hands to the block or the cushion. And we're going to inhale, take the right arm up for a twist. Exhale, lower. Inhale, twist to the left. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, last one. Inhale. Exhale. Slowly walking hand over hand to the front of the mat. We're going to exhale as we step all the way back to our downward facing dog. Inhale to the knees. Knees nice and wide. Toes together. And exhale, press back to our child's pose. Now for some people, child's pose may not feel as comfortable as for others. So sometimes it's nice to place a pillow between the hips and the heels. And then we're just going to float all the way down into our child's pose. So maybe stretching the hands forwards, maybe taking a little pebble. So whatever feels nice for you today. But really focusing on that breath. And then slowly walking the hands all the way back in as we make our way to seated. And here we're going to have a few nice cool downs. So let's start with a nice forward fold. So Paschimottanasana, seated forward fold. So if folding forwards is a little bit tight on the hamstrings, start by bending the knees, feet flat, and hugging the knees. And when we inhale, we exhale, take the belly over the thighs and relax the head. And then perhaps you can try creeping those heels away a little bit and seeing how that feels. So that's an option if you've got really tight hamstrings. That can feel really nice. And again, if you have cushions, you've got these cushions underneath, so it's really supported. Alternatively, we take Dandasana, keeping those feet nicely flexed. Anything going over those hips or lower back, feet at hip width. So we inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, hugging in the belly as we reach forwards, 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 and wherever the hands may lie. So perhaps they're on your thighs, shins, ankles, maybe toes, maybe feet. But we're trying to avoid hugging those shoulders up. We're rounding the shoulders, scooping the shoulders blades back and down, wrapping them, and just relaxing the head. And then inhale as we lift, exhale as we lower. So come to lie on our backs. We're going to hug the knees in and rock from side to side. Good. And then coming to lie on the right side. So this is a really nice chest opener. So we're going to take the legs together and really hug the knees up to the belly and stick those legs together. And then with either a pillow underneath the head or a block, just to support the head, really tucking that chin down, we're going to take the arms on top of each other. So keeping those knees together. As we inhale, we're going to take the left arm up, and as we do so, we're going to pivot the centre of the chest up to the ceiling. The left hand comes behind, perhaps reaching the floor, perhaps not just yet, but really trying to send the centre of our chest up to the ceiling. Imagine there's a glowing light that's creating this lovely shine on the ceiling as we twist. And then exhale slowly, slowly, slowly. So 4 more. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, making this lovely and slow. It's really nice chest opener and so good for your shoulders. Exhale. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. Make it the slowest you can. Slow, slow, slow. Inhale. And exhale. And then without disturbing yourselves too much, just come to lie on the other side of the body. But I'm going to turn around so that I can still face the camera. So tucking the pillow under the head, hugging the knees in, feeling those knees stick together, really trying to encourage that shoulder down, arms in front. And then 5 as we inhale, pivot the heart, the chest all the way up. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. 3 more. Inhale. Slow, slow, slow. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. So last one. Make it the slowest. Inhale. Exhale. Well done. And then come to lie on your backs again, hugging in your knees, rocking from side to side. So we're going to finish off with our happy baby. So if you have quite tight hips, this can feel quite strong. So we're going to bend the knees, feet flat, so as though we're standing on the ceiling. So if you have quite tight hips, we're just going to hold the back of the thighs and encourage both thighs down towards the belly, knees down towards the armpits. Or alternatively, we take the hands inside the feet and then just cup the outer edges. And then exhale as we take the knees down towards the armpits. So we're trying to encourage the base of the spine still in contact with the mat, creating that resistance, tucking the chin in, lengthening the back of the neck, maybe having a little roll. And then releasing happy baby. So making any movements that you wish to make before coming to Shavasana. So as I mentioned at the start, here you have an option of having supported Shavasana. So reaching for either a rolled up towel or blanket. We place that towards the base of the spine. Now mine is long enough that it supports my head, but if, for example, it doesn't, we just take a pillow and we can place that behind the head. So here you can either have the legs out straight, if that feels really nice for you. You could even take Baddha Konasana, and again, using those pillows underneath to support the hips, the knees. So it's a really supported, restorative Shavasana. So this is a really nice option, and you just allow your body to drape over the bolster, arms to the sides. If, however, you want to come into Shavasana that you practice in class, then please do so, but making sure that you're warm enough, so having extra layers, popping on socks, reaching for blankets, maybe the jumper. So it's really important in Shavasana that we allow our bodies to fully soften and relax, and if we are a little bit chilly, then our body will be gripping and won't allow that softening to happen. So come to lie in Shavasana, so whether that is the restorative, supported Shavasana or your regular Shavasana that you practice in the class. And then I invite you to close your eyes or soft focus. As we did at the start, taking your awareness to your breath. So slowing the breath. Noticing where you're breathing, perhaps trying to breathe into the belly, but without any force. And then scan the body. Notice any areas that you could just soften that little bit more. But really now encouraging your whole body to fully and completely relax from the crown of your head to the tips of your fingers, all the way down to the tips of your toes. Allowing every muscle of your face to relax, your shoulders to relax, your arms to relax. Taking the awareness to the back of the body, softening the shoulder blades, the upper back, the middle back, the lower back. Softening and relaxing. And then the awareness to the front of the body, to the collarbones, the chest, the rib cage, the belly, softening. Just feeling everything be much heavier and relaxed. And then move that awareness lastly to your legs, to your thighs, shins, to your ankles, your feet, to your toes. Now allowing your whole body to soften and relax. So for those of you who wish to stay in Shavasana for longer, simply turn the video off, and I wish you a really peaceful, wonderful day. For those of you who wish to come out of Shavasana, start to deepen your breath. As you exhale, feel your body start to wake up. As you inhale, the senses become alive again. Wiggle the fingers, maybe touching finger pads to the thumb. Moving your head from side to side, wiggling toes. And either remaining where you are or coming to lie on whichever side of the body feels most comfortable for you today. So just spend these moments noticing how you're feeling. Scanning the body and noticing how your body feels after your practice. Does your mind feel calmer? Do you feel more peaceful within? And then without disturbing yourselves too much, just slowly make your way to a comfortable seated position, either in Sukhasana or Dandasana, whatever feels really lovely for you. And then taking the hands to Anjali Mudra. So with our palms together, we rub them, creating that lovely warmth. And when your palms are lovely and warm, we place the hands over the eyes, wrap the fingers around the forehead, and just let your head be heavy within your hands and breathe in those energies. Really visualize those energies flowing into your body from the crown of your head all the way to the tips of the toes, with that warming, soothing, nourishing energy. Really allowing it to fill you up. And then slowly moving the hands back to Anjali Mudra. And then let's take a moment of gratitude. So maybe thinking about someone or something that you're very thankful and grateful for. And then in kindness and compassion, as we bow forward and we say together, Namaste. 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 So thank you for spending your time with me practicing today. I really appreciate it. As always, any questions, any feedback, please email me. Also, if you have any comments, please feel free to put those at the end of the video underneath. But I thank you for sharing your time with me. I hope you really feel the benefits of the practice. And for those of you who come to my Mooncat Yoga classes, I look forward to welcoming you back in the new year. Namaste.